Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or whenever you're watching me right now. My name is Jay Luke, the owner and operator of the Passionist Network. I'm also the host of Talk That Talk. Remember, you can get any of our merchandise right here on the YouTube page. Just click on the store. And when you get down to your final purchase, you can get 30% off that final purchase. Just type in HBCU band. Again, you can get 30% off your final purchase. Just type in HBCU band. Also, please feel free to donate to the channel, donate to the network, man. That's the best way to support the channel. Before we get started, I do want to say happy Founders Day to the brothers of Phi Mu Alpha Symphonia Incorporated. Yeah, all hail. All hail. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So first things first, there are actually a couple of stories that I kind of wanted to get out. But I told you I wasn't coming back until this was taken care of, so that's kind of why. So one, I hope you all are enjoying your Sunday. But two, there's been a lot of buzz going on about this. And so I actually wanted to, let's look at this and then let's talk about it. So let's get into it. First things first, before we start talking about all the elephants in the room, because there's a lot of elephants in that room. The elephants are pretty big at this point. But before we get into that, what I will say is this. I actually think it's pretty dope that they are playing for the WWE, right? Like, they got the invite based on the fact that they played this at a specific game. It caught wind of Cody Rhodes and I guess WWE in general, but more specifically Cody Rhodes, which those of you all who don't watch wrestling, this is Cody Rhodes' theme song. And so I actually think it's a dope thing in the fact that they were even invited to be able to play his theme song. So yeah, so I will start with, why does his face have to look like this? This face does not help the cause at all. This face right here, that does not help the cause at all. I just got to say that just does not help. Hey, so there's a lot of stuff to unpack in this particular video, right? Like, so I'm gonna try to walk through this as best I can. So first things first, there are a lot of comments on obviously the sound of the group, right? And I want to be as honest and transparent as I possibly can. From the outside looking in, right? If for me being the viewer, that wasn't a good representation, just from me being the viewer, right? But here's the caveat to that. The caveat to that is, sporting events don't necessarily think about, specifically in this particular arena where you're talking about, wrestling, they don't necessarily think about, getting surround sound audio in the sense of how band is recorded, right? So from what I can hear, you're getting a lot of individual camera sounds, right? So when they switch from one camera to another, they're using the audio from that specific camera. They don't have cameras or ambient mics set up to be able to capture the full room sound, at least from what I can tell. Because if that were the case, then they would have just recorded that particular, or they would have recorded that particular audio and then let that be the recording for this. What I'm assuming is that the way they record for audio is whatever camera is on, that's the audio feed that they're receiving, right? So I'm going to say that first. So I honestly believe that each camera picked up each individual instrumentalist sound. So we got more of that singular sound than the full sound of the group. So that's the first thing that I'm going to go off of. The second thing I'm going to go off of is I don't know what the temperament of the people were in the room. I think I saw one video where somebody was actually in the room. And from what I could hear, the people in the crowd were actually enjoying it, because even when they got to the part, like, everybody was excited about that part. So, and then the video that I saw with somebody in the audience, they were actually singing along with the band. So, I don't think that the people in the room felt or had the same reaction to how we received it via, in this particular instance, Peacock or the live stream. So that's the second thing that I want to say about that. The third thing, I'm gonna talk about it from a band director or just the way I see it. I wouldn't have never invited a woodwind. And that's just me. No woodwinds would have been there. It would have been an all brass situation, right? Because we want to maximize filling up the room with as much sound as we possibly can, right? That's a big arena. You got bodies in there, so they're going to soak up sound. So we want to try to maximize our sound as best as we possibly can. So I personally, now this is just me, and I'm not saying that UAPB did anything wrong in the selection of how they decided that they wanted to bring their instrumentalists. I'm just talking about me specifically. I would have never brought a woodwind in there. I would have had all brass, because in my opinion, I don't think that a woodwind would have changed the dynamic of the piece that much to where they needed to be there. That's my first take. The second thing is, I honestly would not have stacked like instruments together, right? Because usually if you have a performance like this, you're probably bringing your top players, right? Your section leaders, and your assistant section leaders, so on and so forth, right? So what I would have done is I would have put, depending on, how many people you have or how the instrumentation is set up, I would have put a first, a second, if I had trumpet players, if it was a 3-part harmony and a first, trumpet players, I would have put a first and a second and a third, mellophone player, euphonium player, and then if you had a 3-part harmony and trombone, first, second, third, and then a tuba, and then stacked it that way, because that would have guaranteed that everybody on all sides of the ring would have been receiving all parts of said music. So that way it didn't matter where the shot was coming from, you would have gotten all parts of the music, and it would have been more, in my opinion, a more cohesive balance within the song. Because the truth of the matter is, we don't know if this was the staging that they were given. It would have been different, and we don't know, right? Because they could have been told, like, this is the staging that we have to get because Cody Rhodes may come out, so on and so forth, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So based on that staging alone, and I don't know why my computer just cut off, that sucked. But based on that staging alone, that's what I would have done to be able to maximize the balance in the particular piece. And personally, I just think that Cody Rhodes should have came out. They should have had the whole pyrotechnics and all that kind of stuff, the stuff going off, and Cody Rhodes should have come out during them playing. I think him not coming out, in my opinion, kind of dropped the ball on this situation because of the fact that it's his song. So he should have come out with the band playing. That was in my opinion, that's the whole point of them being there, is to play his theme music. Play me my theme music. I just think that made this part look even more awkward, because they were playing his theme music and he didn't come out on the theme music. And then you had the other two sitting in the ring looking at it like, man, what is this trash? So I think that him not coming out also made that part look very odd. But I'm gonna tell you, all in all, I don't really think that the performance itself was that bad. Let me rephrase that, because I know y'all are gonna fire me up. From the viewers in the room's perspective, what we got on the stream was pretty rough. So if I'm looking just from that particular lens alone, yeah, it's pretty rough. It was pretty rough. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was pretty rough. But I think the people inside of the room we don't know. I don't know. Because I haven't seen any feedback from anybody from someone inside the room. But I think the people inside the room may have had a different experience of this performance than what we received. Now, if the people inside the room had the same experience, then that was just a rough performance. It just was what it was. But I think sometimes cameras and audio and stuff like that can be our gift and our curse. And I think that for UAPB, it necessarily wasn't the gift. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think it's dope that they performed it. I still think that it's dope that they had this performance. I still think it was dope that WWE, the corporation, and Cody Rhodes allowed them to be able to have this performance. So I'm not going to take that away from them at all. Kudos to you all, UAPB, M4, for being able to have this performance. I have to make sure I state that, because people will be like, oh, you just hating. No, I'm not hating. I am just telling the truth. But at the same time, from where we sit, that performance was rough. But I don't know, man. You guys tell me what you all think inside of the comment section. Do you all think this was a good performance? Do you think it was rough? Do you all think that the perception that I came from is valid? Or maybe it's not. You all leave all that information inside the comment section. Remember, go ahead and stop at the store, get whatever you want. Remember, 30% off your final purchase. Just type in HBCU band. Again, 30% off your final purchase. Just type in HBCU band. Also, feel free to donate to the channel as much as you want, whenever you want. Again, that's the best way to support the channel. I have nothing further. I appreciate you guys for watching. I love y'all. Peace.